Yeah.
But
And I don't want to spend too much time discussing the theoretical aspects of this, but basically, the reason why this works is because Zerg makes units from larvae. And the fact that they do that allows them to... Don't pause.
okay.
The fact that they do that allows them to make a lot of drones at once and make a lot of money at once. And it also allows them to get by with no units and then suddenly make a lot of units to defend. And this, in turn, allows them to get that really fast expansion fully saturated and then get a really fast third, which makes them very scary mid to late game because they have so many units.
Yeah, I agree that the trick to Zerg in general and the build is specifically like this is the larvae of drone production.
Yeah.
Only you can pump out units quickly as Zerg when you need, and only pumping them when you need them, which is part of the counter to it, which we'll talk about later, of making the Zerg pump units when he doesn't want to.
Now, can Zerg see him here from this creep?
I believe he can. Yep.
Yep. So you had something to be aware of. Even when you're at the watchtower, you might think, I'm at the watchtower. I have great vision of my opponent. If there's creep, he can see you.
Exactly.
So just a point to keep in mind. That's something a lot of people won't realize. Something that I didn't realize, actually.
So big force of Hydras coming out, but there's a lot of Marines here, but they are just falling to the Hydra power. And
that was no contest.
This is why so many Zerg players go Hydra. And this is why Feint goes Hydras primarily only as his main unit, because they are great in every situation. They are so powerful and so strong. And once you get upgrades on these guys, they are almost unstoppable against so many things Terran can throw at them.
Yeah, a late game army of 200 supply of Hydralisk is just unbelievably powerful. You can, like, what else? You don't need anything else. 200 supply of Hydralisk is insane. Which is why I've lost so many games against Zerg that do this exact same build versus Protoss. And I move out late game, and I feel like I have a really strong army with Colossuses, which should destroy Hydras. But I have like 150 to 170 food, and they have 200 because they've just been macroing so hard, and they just destroy me.
Oh, we have a small drop going on here. I think we had a small drop that we just missed. But Hydra's pulling back so fast on this creep and destroying the dropship, taking out those Marines. Did he do any... It looks like... he
looks like he forced drones off, but not that much else.
Yeah,
and for a few seconds, which honestly I feel like that went much worse for Grog than it did for Feint overall.
Well, it stopped. Pretty much. I think Grog understands at this point that he needs to stop the Zerg economy.
Yeah, but that wasn't an effective way to do it. I mean, honestly, in that sort of situation where you come in with a dropship and you see that there's a bunch of Hydralisks there, I would just pull back and come back later, because you're not going to do any damage.
So you have Zerg going for a push just as he's putting down his second expansion at the gold, coming in to make sure the Terran does not come out, does not find that. And let's see how this goes. And it's
pretty much even armies right now. A 70 supply to 70, and but not for long.
Yeah, those Hellions being targeted. Those Hellions are so good against Hydras, but when they're targeted fire like that,
I really would love to see something like Hellion with Marines and Marauders, so that the Marauders can take some hits while the Hellions run up and use their area effect damage. Against Hydralisks and Zerg, in general, you really do want that splash damage. It's just awesome against them because they have such low HP overall. But your Hellions are also really fragile, and they die really quickly to Hydralisks. You need something to block for them.
Grog losing so much in this matchup. These Hellions getting angle up here, which is great. But
one thing that I'm excited in StarCraft 2 is that at first it seemed like Zerg had these really strong units like the Roach.
Mm-hmm.
But as time has gone on, I realized that Zerg is just as much about swarming as it was in StarCraft 1, if not more so. I mean, really, it's about constantly producing from multiple hatcheries and just swarming your opponent. I mean, all of the units, like Hydralisks, have such low hit points, but they attack so fast and do so much damage that it creates this awesome dynamic that was present in StarCraft 1 where, like, let's say I'm Protoss, I can Psystorm or use Colossus against your Hydralisk and just destroy them. They die so quickly because of their low life, but they do so much damage that you could just replenish them and keep replenishing them and keep replenishing them and just wear away your opponent. And I think it's cool that they captured that. I was worried about that.
For Feint now, we see the reverse engineering of the build order Of he went Hydras early to cover every situation, and they're powerful. But now that Terran is growing a little bit stronger, has more units, he's going backwards to build roaches now to absorb that damage, because now is the time that he's going to be fighting. Whereas before, he's just holding off, holding off. But now that he wants to fight,
now he has 3
roaches.
bases, which are all pretty much saturated. His income, we can see, is twice that almost of the Terran player. He's where he wants to be now. As Zerg, this is where you want to be. You want to get that 3rd base up, get it saturated, and then before your Terran opponent can economize as well, you make a shit ton of units and push. Whoa.
Shit ton.
A
lot of poop.
One time, one do.
Yeah. And the double Evo chamber, a lot of new players don't understand the concept of double Evo. It's pretty much saying... It's the same thing as the Roach Warren. He wasn't ready to really engage yet, but now that he is, you put down 2 evolution chambers, you pump your attack and your defense at the same time, and then you just push.
And a lot of people say, well, why don't you just get 1 Evo chamber, but get it earlier and make units for make upgrades from both earlier? Well, it's because you're spending all of your money on drones, and you don't want to take a drone off to make you want all your drones mining. You're spending so much focus on making them, you don't want to take them off.
Exactly.
First of all. Second of all, you're spending all of your money on making more drones and units. And there's a battle.
Oh, big battle. And, oh, God, Terran split up poorly. These Hellions not firing on the Hydras. Terrible miss micro. And I think the Terran's going to fall in this battle. This is really, really bad for Grog.
Yeah, that was really bad positioning for both players for a couple different reasons. I mean, bad positioning on the Zerg in the way that his Hydralisks were lined up. And Terran should have really... His Hellions were firing all over the place. They should have been focusing on the Hydras. But I also, honestly... And I hate stopping to make a point in the middle of a battle. Like, fucking... It's a battle. Like, this game isn't being won from the battles. I mean, I know they're flashing and interesting, but this game is being won because Zerg has 3 bases and is making constant units from 3 bases because they set themselves up to do this. And it's just... That's what's winning this game right now. At this point, the battles are almost irrelevant. I mean, and you can sort of see it in the income, but even the income is sort of not telling you the full story because it's all about the larva.
Yeah.
But look at the income. Like, it's so much right now in favor of the teal player, of the Zerg, that these battles can happen even if Zerg lost that battle. It wouldn't have mattered. If Terran had great positioning and was able to decimate the Zerg army, that battle wouldn't have mattered because the Zerg would have been able to immediately make a lot more Hydralisks and push the Terran back, and then make a lot more Hydralisks and push the Terran back again.
Well, that's the point of this entire build, is that the army is the fake. The army is the feint of everything. A lot of times people get caught up of, I have to win battles against armies.
Feint's feint. It's feint's Hydralisk feint.
The army is there just so you engage it, so you trade armies, and that's fine for feint because he would just keep macroing up. That's the point. That's what he wants to do.
Yeah.
The armies, he doesn't care if they get lost. He doesn't care if he throws them away, as long as he doesn't lose everything and lose a base or something.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. Aside from that, this is, so the
Completely
Terran
disposable.
The Terran does, the way to counter this is to understand that mechanic and know the army is just there as a brick wall that moves around. I need to attack what's really going to hurt him, and that's his economy, and go in for economic attacks. Ignore the army. The army means nothing.
Ignore the army completely. I would love to see Terran get multiple medevac dropships and do a massive drop of Hellions in the back of one of the main bases as Zerg moves out. I would love to see something like that. Fast footwork and dancing from the Terran player to counter this. Fancy dance from the Terran to counter this. And not so much this constantly meeting for battle, because when you meet for battle and you're 110 supply to 160 supply, you're going to lose. Exactly. There's almost nothing you can do.
He needs to use the mobility of the Terran force, and with a couple of medevacs, he gets so many forces in here. But we're going to see a meeting of the armies again, which again is exactly what Zerg wants.
Yeah, this is perfect for Zerg right now. Because honestly, also his positioning is really good, and I think he's gonna decimate this battle. Also, his supply is so much higher. But even if he lost this battle, this is still what he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the point to drive home. This is that he set himself up with those 3 bases to the point where this is what's important. The fact that he's harvesting 1,700 minerals
to
and
Grog's 800.
Grog's on 800, exactly, almost more than twice.